Hey guys, I'm going to get you promoted here. Hang on one second. Guys, I'm trying to get the guest speaker on, so hang on just one second. Okay, let me get back to promoting you. Oh, there he is. Let me get through these promotions here. We'll get started.
Hello.
Hey, Brent, how you doing? If you guys, as soon as you get the signal that you're promoted to panelist, if you go ahead and do that, that would be great. And I'll promote you to co-host. That way you can. There you are.
Thanks, Gare.
Oops.
Oh, it's not showing up yet.
Make co-host. Okay, there you go. All right.
I got it.
Let me phone. Sorry guys, I was trying to get this going in the Facebook and texting was coming in fast and furious and just hard to have all that happen at the same time. So in any case, we're gonna start here in a second, guys. We got a few more people to promote. We got a great guest tonight, Brent Bowers, who interviewed on our podcast a while back. I think, Brent, your podcast is coming up pretty soon, actually. We doubled up on our production schedule because we had so many, and I think yours is was slotted basically. We cut the time in half, so perfect timing since we got you in class tonight. But guys, the subject tonight has to do with land. I'll let Brent expand more on that. But I want to welcome everybody here, all the students, all the guests. Horace is on. Hey, Horace, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing, Gary?
Awesome. I know you're waiting till the end of the month, but I figured, boy, better, there's stuff we have going on that I think you should probably be involved in,
No problem.
Yep, as far as production development goes, I mean, there's lots we're doing, but and if you want to set up a call with me in the interim, just feel free. That's part of what we do, So
I'll definitely reach out, Gary. Thank you.
You're welcome. DeAndre's on too. All right, man, you made it.
Good night, definitely.
Yep. Good night to make a class, man. Dean's on, Dean Lawrence. Let's see here. Okay.
Gary, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you, Dean. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get hopping here. Hey, Brent, do you have obviously we're live and recording, but this was a very engaged, interactive group here. So is there anything you have that I need to promote you for, like a PowerPoint, anything you'd
No.
want to share?
If I can share my screen, I'll show you the systems, the tools, the actual the things we use to actually mail. So if I'm able to share screen, that's perfect. No, I don't have a PowerPoint though. I was going to do this live interactive,
Good. Good.
and
Okay,
just
just-
mostly talk about this amazing book I just got. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah. It's funny. We put it out there back in, I think, like October, and there was an immediate rush because, a lot of our team members obviously had bought a copy, and 8 of the authors are here, are on the team,
that's
Um,
amazing.
and then, we had the holidays, and all of a sudden it's picking up. I mean, I'm getting phone calls and emails from people who have read the book, and the numbers, their reviews are going up. It's really, we haven't even put it on Audible yet. Audible's coming out in a few months. And
That's powerful.
that's what I hear. So we qualified for it. I said, what the heck, we'll take a shot. I couldn't believe it because it's the nature of it's like a specific audience, and they liked it. So that's gonna really give it some jet fuel. But in any case, hey, if you want to, Brent, go ahead and it's 7 after. Go ahead and take over, and between Gina and me, and there's other folks here that'll help monitor the Q&A. We'll tee up. I'll look for intervals to pause, and we can go through the questions. So do you like them coming in as they come, or would you rather us kind of let them every 5 or 10 minutes or so field the questions?
Come in as they come. I think that'd be amazing, to answer, make sure I can kind of answer all the questions, and I'll stick around as long as you guys need me tonight. Please just tell me when I need to speed up. I will absolutely do that as well. What's
Okay.
the name of the book? Global Investor Agent. Like, I can answer that. It's a really good read. And guys, let's help Gary out, because, and all the amazing authors. This is a easy read. I am not done with it, but I'm enjoying it. It's amazing to see that we started I know you said you started in 2007, same time as me, but go on to Amazon and leave a 5-star review tonight, because you have no idea how much that helps an author out. I personally am not an author, but I'm married to a beautiful author, and blood, sweat, and tears go into these books. So please leave a review on Amazon for Gary and Global Investor Agent. So
Thanks. How about that? And guys, I didn't even have to pay him for do that. That was free. So,
seriously, I'm telling you, it takes 2 minutes. I just left one, and
awesome.
it's
Thank you.
powerful in the Amazon algorithm.
Yep. Well, Chris Patterson's here because of the book too, so picked up
The
a
name
copy.
sounds
Right?
familiar.
Yep.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hello.
Yep. Good to see you, Chris.
Right.
So, but yeah, go ahead and guys, I want to tee this up with this. Is I started saying this probably a year or so ago, that land is the new gold, and more so in some states than others. But which is crazy, because when I first started back in the 80s, it wasn't like high on the priority list, But if you look at the numbers and statistics and just what's happening in your own backyard, I mean, there's areas where land has gone up literally 10 times, the value of 10 times in just the last few years. But there's a need for housing. There's an acute need for affordable housing. And probably 10% of my one-on-ones with you are involving land deals. Nayor was on today with something he's got going on in Texas. We've got them in Pennsylvania, Florida, South Carolina. I could go on and on, but Brent, if you want to go ahead and take over, fill us in, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Brent Bowers. I am a land investor. I am a Christ follower. I am a husband, a father, and land investing. I found land investing out of an absolute need. It was I think there's 2 types of motivations. There's either, fear of pain or away from pain, or towards pleasure. If you told me that you were going to take my house tomorrow, I would figure out a way to pay it off by tomorrow. But if you told me you were going to give me a house tomorrow, I wouldn't be nearly as motivated. So how did I find land investing? I started in real estate in 2007. I got my real estate license because I really thought that being a realtor would help me in the investor world. So I went to something called Exit Realty. I had a sister agent training me. She had a listing pretty much immediately. I made an offer on it as soon as she got it. They accepted the offer. I had my first rental property in 2007. I had just gotten married. And then 2008 happened for me. And ultimately, I had left my business that I had started in middle school. I was mowing grass. I started with the neighbor's lawnmower and then built it up to about 150,000 a year. And that wasn't too bad for, you know, an 18-year-old that just graduated high school. And then my dad came out to business with me. But long story short, I wanted to be in real estate. I didn't want to be in the lawn business. So I gave my dad the business and I took off to the coast, rented that property out, and I wasn't doing too well. I was pretty much wearing out a pair of shoes each month, door knocking. And then ultimately I started driving resident tenants around to show them properties in South Florida. And the landlords in Delray Beach and Boca Raton, for some reason, they didn't like leaving the air conditioners on in their dirty, stinky cat pee houses that they were trying to rent out. And I would ask the client to sit in the car for about 5 minutes while I go in and like air the place out and turn the air conditioner on and spray my Lysol. And it was just a tough time to make about $300 a week. So I resorted to something easier in 2009. I threw in the towel. I completely quit and I joined the military because I thought, I guess I thought that would be easier. A couple combat deployments later and one ex-wife from being gone so much, I got pulled back out of Afghanistan on my second deployment in 2013, was sent to Melbourne, Florida to become an Army officer. I was finally getting the goal of going to school. I wanted to go to school to reset my life because the real estate business was too hard for a 24-year-old kid, and I quit. So I started house hacking in 2013. And, you know, real estate I always had that itch. I never lost that first rental. I finally sold it in late 2019. Only if I would have waited another year and a half, I might have made money on that house. But I went through multiple tenants. Again, I started house hacking, then bought another rental. And then I had to pay for those college classes because the Army left that part out, that if you go to a private school and you do the green to gold program, they paid me my E5 salary as a non-commissioned officer, but I had to pay for those classes. So I started wholesaling houses. I would go and get the notice of default list, and I would go a door knock on those Liz pendants or notice of defaults, and I would leave a sticky note on these doors because it was really nerve-wracking when these people would answer their doors all pissed off. So the knocks got quieter and the notes got better. And ultimately, from leaving those notes, I was able to pay for the college courses. But let me tell you, wholesaling houses is really hard to do when you're doing about a 13 to 14 hour day with the military. Well, fast forward to about 2015, I met another woman. We got married. We got pregnant, and history was repeating itself. Early 2016, I was constantly training, constantly in the field, and it was time for deployment number 3. And I was sick to death. I knew that like history was going to repeat itself. I did not want to have another marriage fail because of being gone the entire time. So I started listening to podcasts. I found Gary's podcast. I started reading books like The Global Investor Agent. I just really started educating myself on how I could exit out of the military and change my life. And I really just needed enough income each month to cover about $4,500 worth of expenses. So I heard a guy that was flipping land and doubling his money overnight. And that might not seem like much when you're doubling your money on 5, 10, 15,000. But what really intrigued me was the fact that he could do it so quickly, where I had rentals. And by this time I had roughly 15 doors. And there's something that you can do. And it was almost set. I could almost set my watch or almost set my time off of when things would break on these houses. Each one of my doors, I would get $200 to $300 net per door. So I thought I was doing really good. But here's every 6 to 8 months, something would break, a water heater. And one time we had a toilet in a basement just explode with sewage. And, if it wasn't for having a rental insurance policy, by the way, we would have had to cover all that. So that's if I can give you any gold nuggets, is have a renter insurance policy on your rentals. and it was actually a commercial policy, way more expensive than your regular homeowner's insurance. However, they covered everything. They covered the lost rent. They covered for my tenant to go and stay in a hotel, and they covered me to renovate that entire basement. And I never let that tenant move back in. I just sold the place and took the profit. But basically, where I was going with this was I would always lose money on my rentals each year because too many things would break. Well, I was listening to this podcast, and at that time I was mailing what's called the tax delinquent list. If anybody is really new on this or listening to this live, the tax delinquent list is people that are not paying their taxes on their properties. So I thought I was mailing the tax delinquent list. It was basically a simple postcard that said, "Hey, I'd like to buy your property at 123 Main Street. If you're interested, call me or text me." And it was a handwritten postcard. Well, I mailed that postcard to 680 properties that I thought was on the tax delinquent list. It was actually on the county held tax lien list. This was a list of properties that was so inefficient, not buildable, not accessible, and people weren't even paying the back taxes. So the county was getting stuck with it. So imagine a pond that's drying up and the fish are about to run out of water and there's no food. And you throw a worm in that pond and the pond explodes like piranhas. That's kind of what happened on this first list. These people received a postcard wanting to buy their crappy property, which was a piece of land, and they were calling me left and right. And the first deal I did was $285 from a retired CPA for a piece of land. And he said, "Hey, the land's not buildable. It's the city said you can't build on it. It's yours for $285. And I was like, "Well, I've never heard of a piece of land that cheap. I'll go and look at it." And I called the real estate office right down the street after I had looked at it. And the realtor literally made me an offer on the spot after I asked her, "Hey, what is the 30-day get her done now price? Like, I want the blowout price for this land." She said, "Maybe 10,000. And I thanked her for her time. And she called me right back, like within a couple minutes, and maybe an offer for 5,000. So needless to say, I was kind of hooked because I just took $285 and turned it into 5,000. Well, I did another one the following weekend that I bought for $500 and sold for $500 down and $400 a month on seller financing. That's the one that changed my paradigm. Basically, I shifted my paradigm like Stephen Covey talks about. Well, fast forward about 9 months, I had roughly around $9,000 a month coming in on payments for land. And here's what's really cool. I was tripling, quadrupling, and 10xing my money because I talked about that second one for $500 that I purchased, and I sold that one for $5,000. But the thing was, it was on seller financing. So this really turned and exploded. And I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. And then I can show you the steps that I take to find these parcels of land so you can go and do a land deal today. I want to try and stay on target. So I'm going to speed things up a little bit and share my screen. But and please unmute yourself, talk to me. I don't know if I can read these. Okay, there's no questions that I see, but please unmute yourself. If I lose anybody, if I need to slow down, I'd love to get a chance to breathe too when you're asking the questions. So you're actually helping me. All right, so let me share my screen. I just want to show you. What's that?
No, you're good. I was just saying you're set to go. And I want to have everybody make sure, guys, you're taking some notes here. Because Brent's already dropped a couple of golden nuggets. And just to paint a perspective here, back you can probably still do this. But you can literally go to your county office in person, and that list, I don't know, Brent, they still do it, was posted on the wall, and you literally could just photocopy it, that's what it was like. And there's entire organizations out there that this is all they do, so
yeah. The way I got that list was they scanned it and it's emailed it to me, and it was like a PDF. And in Colorado Springs, in El Paso County, Colorado, it was called schedule numbers. So I had to plug the schedule number into the assessor's office and then get the name and the mailing address and how many acres it was. And then we also had to figure out what was mobile homes, what was land. So I got a virtual assistant that I paid $5 an hour to scrub that list for me. It took her several weeks, but there's way easier ways to do it now. And I'm going to show you how to get these lists. I don't only focus on the tax delinquent list anymore. Anna, I see you have, is your hand up for a question?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for this awesome information. I was just curious to know, did you have guidance of any companies out there? Because I know so many of them are now in the market trying to teach the concept of land flipping. I was curious to know, did you start on your own, or were you guided by one of these companies or mentors?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that question. I started out on my own, and I think I made probably almost $150,000 net profit. Then I hired a coach. I kind of went in the reverse. And the reason why I did that was two reasons. One, I made a bunch of mistakes. I bought tax lien. I got one parcel of land that had $157,000 IRS tax lien on it. And I couldn't figure out what to do with it. And the lady was scaring me because she's like, listen, you have the warranty deed. You have the, actually it was a quit claim deed actually. And she was blowing me up. Why have you not transferred this yet? And then I also bought a crater in the ground and then something called a treasurer's deed with the title was clouded for years. So I was like, okay, I made a little money. I thought I was really good at this and I need to learn something. So I then finally hired a one-on-one coach. I paid like 40 grand, which I think was too much money. But now that I look back, you know, it pays for itself in like 1 month now. So I started kind of the backwards way. I kind of put the cart before the horse.
That's amazing. I commend you for it. That's so cool. And can I ask a question to Gary as a follow-up, if that's okay, please? Gary, does Real Flow actually offer us the list for land? I have not had a chance to look through it for filtering out land only. I'm curious to know if we can use that tool to find these distressed type of land situations.
You can search specifically for land in both residential and commercial on the Relief Flow system, and you can also select delinquent tax activity. But keep in mind, guys, when you use an aggregator like Relief Flow and the others, they're capturing all the records that show delinquent taxes. So it could be 1 year old or 5 years old. You still have to figure out or just send mailings out to determine which ones are still current, because some of them get paid off, but they're still going to show up in the searches. You follow what I'm saying? So you'll get everything that had a delinquent tax activity in the last year or two. I think that's how they do it. But keep in mind, when you send a mailing out, some people will write you back or call you and say, well, I've got that paid off, So Brent may have some other ways of doing this that are can eliminate one of those steps. But the good news is you can definitely search for land, So,
Awesome.
What's it
Thank
called?
you so much.
Is it called
You're welcome.
Really Flow? Is that what it's called, or Lead Flow system?
Well, we call it's Really Flows the manufacturer, I guess you would call that, and then we use something called Lead Pipes Premium inside of it, and we bought it for all of us are investors / agents. Some are one or some are both, and some are either investor or agent or both. So this actually helps both investors and agents, and we have access across the whole country. So
That's really cool. Yeah, I think you'll be able to use your flow system for this, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So, especially if you already have access to it. Susan, how are you? Oh, Real Flow.
Hey, hi. I was just curious, what did you do with the stuff that really was garbage? What percentage was that?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the first like 10 were absolute garbage. So I talked about the first one, 285 for 5,000. The second one for 500 was surrounded by state land. So I had to trespass on the state land to go get photos. And then one of the state officers stopped me on the way back and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I own the land back there." He goes, "Well, you're on state land right now. Where's your pass?" And I was like, "I don't have a pass. I just own the land back there." He goes, "Well, that's not how this works. Next time you want to come to your land, you need to get a state pass or rappel from a helicopter." And I didn't go again because I already had the photos, and I put it on Craigslist and explained, like, look, you will have to trespass to get to this land or get ingress, egress, like a legal access through a real estate attorney, or call the title company and figure it out. But I sold it so cheap. It was 5 acres and I got $500 down and $400 a month. And the guy did pay me off early. And it's crazy how I didn't even charge interest back then, how he paid me off early. The third one I bought for 3,700 and sold for 35,000. I think the fourth one, the one I was talking about, the lady was threatening me if I didn't record that deed out of her name. I ended up buying that one for like 8,000. That was the $157,000 IRS tax lien. That thing fell off. It completely went away after like 12 months. So I sat this thing on that black, I have a black cabinet, filing cabinet still in my office. And I finally transferred it, and seller financed that one for 38,000. And the people just paid it off this month, and from 2016 to 2023, 534 a month. So one man's trash is another man's treasure. It's so there's never been a piece of land that I could not sell, because it's just someone always wanted it for something or another. So, all right, let's go back. Let me share the screen and keep the questions coming. I just wanted to show you this. This is kind of what it turned into. We have roughly 79 notes paying us. So I was paid twice today. Actually 3 times today, $22. This, I had some desert land. I sold that. And then a couple times on Sunday, 3 times on Sunday, a couple times on Saturday, Friday. And again, I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to show you the whole system here. And I'm going to show you how I built it. Now, I didn't have the money to buy and seller finance all of these. I wasn't smart enough to bring in other partners or friends until recently. I started using other people's money to help me buy this. Just the other day, I borrowed 40 grand from my mother-in-law to sell a piece of land that we sold for 90 grand at a little higher interest rate. So it's almost like a positive arbitrage. So my mother-in-law would be paid off in 5 years, and the buyer for this $90,000 parcel of land will be paid off in 13 years. So we bought it for 40, sold it for 90. Mother-in-law's in a good position as far as loan to value. I can sleep at night. And, these are all payments just in February so far. We're 6 days in. I don't even know how many that is. But it does add up. We're paid multiple times a day. And then I want to kind of show you also what these loans look like. Let me close some of this stuff out. I had too much stuff open. All right. So these loans, what they look like. Where'd everyone go? All right, share screen. All right, so some of these are 10% interest. This one's 0% interest, 4%, 5%, 9%, 12%, 11%. These are all the loans. And if they're late, they automatically get a late fee. I was trying to track these on spreadsheet, but once I hit 2, I was just losing my mind. See, there's some hands up. Go ahead, PF.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Brent. I may have missed it. Where are you located? Because it seems like you're buying land in Colorado and Florida.
I actually started out located in Colorado Springs, Colorado, because I was stationed at Fort Carson. And I started in my own backyard, and I highly recommend do it about a 2.5 hour radius. Then I started buying in Florida with my dad. And then we started buying in Arizona. I bought 122 parcels in Arizona for about $300 each. And now we sell them for roughly 4,500 each, 4,800 each on average. And then now I'm living in Florida. So I live in Vero Beach, Florida, close to family, and we're doing deals more in Florida now because it's just so much easier being close by. And what's amazing is once you find a land specialist realtor to help you out with this, and I'll show you how I do it. And you guys have way more tools than I do. I am not a real estate agent. I used to be. I was not smart enough to keep up with the continuing education while I was in the military. So you guys have the MLS, and I'll tell you, I find a land specialist realtor in every area I go to by looking at Redfin, who listed the land, who it was bought by, basically the buyer's agent. And I will copy and paste. And then eventually I'll see a pattern. Okay, Gary Wilson is the man selling all the land in, Port Mayaca, Florida. So I'll call Gary Wilson, like, hey, what do you think this land is worth? And then he'll help me out because he's going to know A street, B street, D street. Hey, Jeff. You're muted there, sir.
There we go. I was trying to find the mute button. It was right above my head. So are all these land properties that you're picking up, these are all leftovers from the tax lien sales in the state or otherwise? Part one, and then part two, are they all pretty much useless properties that you pick up that other people find value in?
I started with the useless tax lien and tax delinquent properties, and I shouldn't say that all tax delinquent properties are useless. I started there, and then I built my confidence because I really didn't believe this even worked up until about, I don't know, 100 land deals. Now I mail more expensive stuff. I'm shooting for where I buy for 40 or 50 and I can sell it for 150. Like I've got one that's paying off this month for about 126,000 owed. So no, I kind of started there and paid off debt because I was in massive debt in 2016 when I started this. So like 200, that first deal for $285, I was like, oh my God, if I don't sell this quick, I don't know if we'll be able to afford diapers type thing. So I've kind of moved on. We try and do the minimum deal about $10,000 now because it takes the same amount of time to make $10,000 as it does to make 5,000 or 3,000 or 2,000. And here's another cool thing. Sometimes it takes less time to make $100,000 on a land deal than it does the $5,000 land deal. So we've definitely moved on to higher, more expensive stuff. And I'll show you what I mean by that right now.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah, I had no time and no money when I started this in 2016. So I was kind of under the gun. And plus I just wanted to get out of the military. I didn't have a lot of expenses. I was at about $4,500 a month. But here's how I find, the land areas. I want to find areas that are in high demand. So I'm just going to use Florida, for example. I'm going to go to filters. So this is Redfin. I just searched Orlando. And then I'm going to go to all filters. I'm going to go to sold. And then I want to see land. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to look what's going on in the last week. So I'm not really seeing any clusters in a week. So let's go to 30 days. All right, so here's a little cluster here. Not so much. Let me just uncheck this Orlando. And guys, you have access to the MLS, so you probably have way better tools than this. I'm just using the freebie stuff. I like this little cluster right here. So this would be probably an area I would mail. And why? Why would I mail this area? Because it tells me one thing. There's demand. I see a couple of that's 400,000, 376, 426. So it's somewhat homogeneous. So I can probably figure out, what it's going for by the square foot very easily. Well, I did a little bit of homework ahead of time. I've been mailing an area called Westlake, Florida. And it's in the town of Palm Beach, or I'm sorry, in the county of Palm Beach. So if you notice, no solds have happened in the last 30 days. But there's one thing I really like about this area. And let me give you one more example before I do that. So there's another area called Lehigh, and you could do this anywhere in the country. I'm just using Florida because I'm in Florida. So this is Lehigh Acres. And the hurricane just went over this, several months ago. But look what's been going on in the last 7 days out here in this area.
Whoa.
That is tremendous. 40 parcels of land have sold in the last 7 days just in this little area. And here's what's really interesting. 18,000, 17,000, 14,000, 14, 12, 35,000. All right. I don't know why that one sold for more. That would be a little bit of something you want to check out. But this area, you can make, $5,000 to $10,000 per deal fairly easily. But here's the problem. This area has went down quite a bit in the past month, but this is a cluster still of high demand. We used to buy them for about 5,000 in this area and sell them for 25,000. Now it's kind of gotten a little hard. So on average, like if we got a $18,000 parcel, it's been hard to get them like for less than 15 lately. So I've moved out of this area. So now I want to go to another area where you actually make pretty good spreads. So this is Westlake, Florida. I'm going to exit this out because I want to kind of see what's going on. And if you look in the last 3 months, there's been some pretty good sales right in here. Not a tremendous amount, but here's the thing. These are higher price. So if I get this at 80 cents on the dollar, I can make a quick $20,000, $30,000 in roughly 30 days. And here's another cool thing. In this area in Florida, I have a real estate agent. And if I put in the verbiage in my purchase agreement that I can list it on the MLS and market it to assign my contract, I still tell the seller everything I'm doing. I'm very transparent because it's like, I never want to just like, I never want to kind of catch them off guard, because I want them to know that I'm not keeping this land for myself. I'm wholesaling the land. I've got cash buyers. We put it on the MLS. We put it on MLS, Craigslist, all over the place. We're going to market the heck out of this thing. It's almost like when you go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, you know, I've got to draw some blood. It's going to be a little needle. I'm going to clean your arm. You're barely going to feel it. And then I'm going to put this nice little pink bandage on you, and we're done. But if that doctor walked in and just shoved the needle in your arm, you would punch him or her. So we want to just make sure we're very transparent with the seller, not so much to like confuse them, but just to say, hey, here's our process and here's what we do. Let's get to work type thing. Yes, sir. Chris Patterson.
I got a question. And so in Florida, do they have, you said you buy tax liens and then you get the property after you purchase the tax lien?
No, I don't buy tax liens. I will buy the property from the owner that is behind on their taxes, because the tax lien game is a whole different game. It's wrong for me.
Okay, I overheard it, but yeah, because Georgia has a crazy redemption period. So even if you buy the tax liens, the person could come back and pay that, and you only get like 20%.
Oh yeah, I try and catch them before they lose everything and get them something in their pocket. And I'll tell you, it's a very small percentage of my deals now. I would say probably 4 to 5% are tax delinquent, because here's the thing. A lot of people mail out of state owners that have owned it for 10 years and they're behind on their taxes. Well, that's what the competition is doing. I'm gobbling up the stuff that, you know, like my sister-in-law just inherited 10 acres. Well, if I'm only mailing the people that are out of the county, out of the state, owned it for 10 years, I would completely miss someone like my sister-in-law that just inherited 10 acres from her mother that she couldn't stand, and she's selling it for a discount. She's not selling it to me, but I showed her how to get the highest and best value by calling a land specialist realtor out there. So let me go back to this, show you Westlake and how I break these down. But what I wanted to show you, which is really cool, there's been 18 parcels in this one little area sold, 18 parcels of vacant raw land. Let's see what's for sale right now. Not a single thing. So Gary talks about in his book, as prices go down, interest rates go up, there's less buyers in the market. So does supply is up. So what this is telling me is there's only demand for this area right now, and there's nothing for sale, which is, you know, usually you see at least one parcel, 2 parcels for sale. So right now I'm trying to fill a demand because I see demand for this. So let's go back to the solds. And what I did was I broke these down and threw them on a spreadsheet. And I took the first area and I put the price, I put the square foot, and I divided price by square foot. And that told me what it's selling by the square foot. I know a lot of you guys probably have tools on the MLS that will show you how to do this. So I took this area and I called it its own neighborhood. And these are waterways. So I'm deciphering these. This is a neighborhood. This is the neighborhood. And what's crazy about these are way high per square foot. But what I see is someone's dug a lake, and I'm doing that in air quotes. They call a little body of water a lake in Florida. But what I wanted to do was micro this down as much as possible. So this is about $122 a square foot. These ones that were around that lake sold for $114 a square foot, $129 a square foot. And then you had some other that were further that sold for about $84 a square foot, and some sold for $46 a square foot. So I'm segregating these because when I break my mailers down, I want to offer roughly 80 cents on the dollar. And here's how I came up with that 80 cents on the dollar. But I'm going to show you that area, which was this area right here. And there's not very many comps. So this is kind of like shooting in the dark sometimes. But these comps at 766 and the 635 that sold in roughly the last 45 days. And I'm not going past 3 months because we're seeing price decreases already. Land sit longer, houses sit longer. So I'm trying to keep this a recession-proof business. And basically, I don't want to get caught by it going down too much. So these two right here, I'm deciphering my price per square foot. So what I did was I took the average price by highlighting both of these and looking down here where it shows me the average of 700 grand. And then I took the average square feet and it gave me the average of 5,837 square foot. And then the average price per square foot, which was $120 a square foot. So I took that average sales price, which was 700 grand, and I put it right here, the average sales price. And then I subtracted realtor fee, 6%. And then I probably didn't have to do this because there's nothing for sale right now. So I would be the only one on the market. So I probably don't have to sell for a lower price. But if there would be 30 of these for sale right now, and they're all listed for 700,000 and mine's listed for 680,000, it's a no-brainer whose parcel they're going to buy. And oh, by the way, I even offer some seller financing, not on all deals. If I can find the cash really cheap, I'll buy it and we'll seller finance it, because here's what's really cool is the banks have figured out compounding interest. That's why they're the biggest, prettiest buildings in every state. You get a $200,000 mortgage at 6% interest, you're paying back $430 over 30 years. I figured about $2,000 for closing costs. I want to make a minimum profit of 20 grand. So that means I need to offer about 566 grand for a $700,000 parcel of land. And some people might be on this call or this presentation thinking, why would anybody sell a $700,000 parcel of land for, 566,000? Why do people take Rolexes to pawn shops every day of the week? I don't know. There's always some type of circumstance. They inherit it and no telling, like they got it from their mother that they couldn't stand. So what I did was I took the 700,000 and divided by 566, and that told me we were about 80 cents on the dollar to get to this price. So what did I do? I again, remember I came up with the $120 a square foot was the average. 120 was the average. That's right here. And I multiplied that by 80 cents or 80%. And that told me I need to offer $97.23 per square foot. Does that make sense to everybody? Did I lose anybody with that crazy math? All right, I'm going to keep going fast here because I know we're on the time limit here. So the next thing I did was I went to PropStream and I logged in, and basically I pulled a list in that area, and you guys can use your flow system as well. Oh, hold on, sorry.
In PropStream, I think you have to purchase it by the area, like if so much per zip code, that kind of thing, unless it's changed over the years.
This I pay $99 a month, and I can pull 10,000 records. But if you guys already have the I think it's Really Flow. I apologize, I can't remember what it was called. I can't see the question.
Yeah,
I would just use what you're already paying for, what you're already familiar with. So I went to Westlake, Florida.
Mhm.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think we get the pull of like 50,000 records per month or something. There's a limit, and we actually only ever hit it once, and it's because I use but it's a pretty capable system. It's pretty. You can actually search by individual property type or property address. Excuse me.
Oh, that's amazing. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why I say, I mean, use the system you're already familiar with. But basically, what I'm going to do is, what I did, and I already did this ahead of time, but I just want to kind of show you how I did it. Was I segregated this area, and
I wouldn't share again.
Oh, I'm not sharing.
Again.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that. I'll go back.
I never do that, Brett. These guys know that I've never ever once forgotten to share a screen the entire time.
I'm around a bunch of professionals. I'm a little nervous. I should have dropped the air.
I'm like, I'm sure I'll frustrate them because at least once a month, hey, Gary, gotta share your screen. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm giving the whole system here. This is how I mail every day. I generally want to mail at least 40 to 50 a day land offer letters. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but I already mailed this area, and I'll show you that campaign that already went out. So I already mailed this area. Now I'm mailing the next neighborhood. So for any of you that didn't see that, I just took this drawing thing, and then I remembered what it looked like from looking at the Westlake over here on Redfin. So I am mailing, there's an area of demand. If there's no demand, if there's nothing selling, I'm not mailing that area. that's the difference between the tax delinquent stuff, like the bottom feeding. And this is where you make a lot more money with about the same amount of time. And then also it allows you to scale. It was really hard for me to scale that business when I would only make $2,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 per land deal. But if we make well, let me go back to my spreadsheet. If we make, roughly $20,000 profit on each one, and let's just say I don't have to offer this buyer's discount, that's 90 grand right there we can make. And maybe I should get my real estate license because the realtor's making more than me. So this is what's really cool is my realtor's banking. All right, so let's go back to that prop stream. And that tells me there's 95 property owners or property records here. I'm going to go and filter this. I only want to get vacant raw land. So vacant land. And there's one more caveat, one more thing I want to do. If you remember here, it was 5,000 square foot to 7,000 square foot. So I'm only pulling what I know I can price. So 5,000 to 7,000 square foot parcels of land on this run. Tomorrow, I'm going to mail maybe the $7,000 to $8,000 square foot. But right now I don't know what they're selling for because I haven't seen any sold above that except for in these areas down here. So now that only gives me 47. Well, then I would just select all these and then I would add it to a list and call this Westlake. I've already done that. And they go here. And basically I called it Crest Wind because that's the country club there, 5,000 to 7,000 square foot. I saved it and I saved it as a CSV file. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So the reason why I had to do a CSV file, that's how my mail house works. So I called it, let's just do it right here. So I had to make 2 changes to this CSV file. I'm going to show you what I did. So let me make this bigger so everyone can see it. So I scrolled over and what I'm looking for is the square foot. So sometimes it comes out in acres. Sometimes it comes out in square foot, depending on what I'm looking at. So what I did was I added this price per square foot. I don't know if that's a column or a row. I can never remember. And I added the offer price. So remember that $97.23? That was my 80 cents on the dollar number that I pulled from this. Some people just offer 50 cents on the dollar or 60 cents on the dollar. I like to be a little bit more calculated because I'm way more likely to get it for 80 cents on the dollar than 49 cents on the dollar or 50 cents on the dollar. But you eventually get those deals. You just have to mail a lot more people. So let's get to it. So I took the lot square foot and then I multiplied it by $97.23 and it gave me the offer price. They are going to get a purchase agreement. The sellers, the owners of this land are going to get an actual purchase agreement with the exact offer I'm willing to make. Well, this is something called Pebble, REI Pebble. And what I do is this is how I set my campaigns. So I've been mailing this Westlake. Last mailer was only 14. The previous was only 40 because I'm segregating it again. So the first one was 46,000 square foot in this area. And the second mailer was 6,000 to 8,000 square foot in the same area. And I'm microing it down because these were going for $95 a square foot at 4,000 to 6,000 square foot. And then when we got to the little larger parcels, not too much larger, it went from $95 to $75 a square foot. So my offer changed. And this makes it so much easier to do that offer. So I'm going to do a quick campaign. It's going to be called, I don't know, Crest Wind. I'm probably spelling this wrong, but I'm trying to be fast here. 5 to 7K square foot. Save it. The county is Palm Beach, Donald Trump's county. And then I'm going to drag and drop or just add my CSV file. The reason why it's got to be CSV is this is just how PropStream takes it. And then right here, Crest Wind, upload. All right, so I'm going to select the list provider, which was PropStream. And these guys can add your real flow in here as well if you decide to use something like this. There's other systems like this. I just really like Pebble because it's easy. And I need to make one change to this. I need to put the mailer price. I'm going to search offer right there. So they're going to get an exact offer for their piece of land. Let me export this list. I'm sorry, import this list. View campaign. And then I'm going to activate the campaign. and I'm going to send my land offer letter, my LOL. If anybody wants to copy this land offer letter, you can go to the landsharks.com/LOL. I always send first class mail. I moved almost 9 times in 8.5 years in the military. So I believe in the forwarding of the United States Postal Service. I do double-sided, make sure my return address is correct, preview, and here's what it looks like. Eventually. I wish I had the Wheel of Fortune. All right, so there's my phone number. There's my fax machine. I use myfax.com. It's $10 a month. And let me tell you, that is, I probably should look at the return on investment for that $10 a month. People fax these things back signed. There's my email address. There's my return address. I tell them I'm a buyer. I'm a combat disabled veteran. Barbara Jett is going to get an offer for her property in the amount of $513,000. And remember, I told you that my real estate agent could put this right on the MLS. I don't even have to buy it. Right there, buyer on the MLS or elsewhere. They sign it. They put their date, this phone number, email, the signature, the date. Again, I don't know why we have the date so many times. I probably should change that. Verify it's correct. Activate now. And these letters are going out. So, did I lose anybody with all that? That's how I mail these letters. And it's way easier than going after the tax delinquent list and spending so much time just scrubbing the list. Now there's certain little nuances. I could only talk so much in the 45 minutes. Yes, sir, PF. Mr. Jimenez.
Yeah, this is one of those nuances. So in the CSV file, you added 2 new columns. Yeah.
Yes.
And those were calculations that you did somewhere else in another spreadsheet before you converted it into CSV?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I got it from here. And you can put anything you want.
And that way, each individual will get their actual price.
Yes, sir. You got it. You got it.
Oh, fantastic.
Lot size times lot square foot times offer price. Now, maybe you don't want to do all this. Maybe you would rather just get your phone ringing. You can send the postcard, that postcard I talked about at the very beginning. Postcards are cheaper. You can send those out for like 47 cents. These are 82 cents each. But here's what's really cool is, you know, I could show you one that I just got signed back the other day. The lady signed it and emailed it back, and I made a big mistake. You know what the mistake was? I was doing it in Indian River County. These lots are going for about 50,000 each, and I priced it off of that. Well, this area was landlocked, so I can't give her $50,000 for this parcel. She signed it. I got all excited. I replied back to her, I made a huge mistake. This land is landlocked, and I saw where she was actually listed it for 17,000 and just took it off the market, couldn't even sell it. And I said, you know, what's the least you'll take? Replied back less than 24 hours. Give me 15 grand, it's yours. Well, still, we're not low enough. But what I did was I went on Been Verified and found out there's a house that like butts up to it on this side and a house that butts up to it on this side. And I got those people's phone numbers, and I am waiting. I need to call them. I'm just waiting to have some time to call these people and say, hey, you want to own the land behind you so no one ever builds on it? And I'm going to say, hey, how much money could you afford each month to pay me monthly payments for that? And I'll probably buy it for about 5,000 to 7,000 and sell it for maybe 30 on financing, because I'm going to try and 3x the money. So if I buy it for 5, I want to sell it for at least 15. So how to find buyers is what I didn't talk about. And Gary, time check.
You're okay. We've generally we've had classes go a lot longer, but what I generally do is I'll stay on after we're done in case anyone has any other Q&A, but that usually goes till 8:30. But I think, would you guys agree? I think it'd be good if we let Brent continue. How about like a hand raise or a type yes in the chat box? Because I'm taking notes. I hope you guys are taking notes too.
All right,
for some of you, yeah. Well, this is the kind of stuff that can really set you apart from the crowd, guys. I mean, remember, the agents are involved here. For all of you who are agents, some of you are investors. But this is a great way for you to, and it seems like it's very low cost to get in the game. Or if you're just trying to get started, like DeAndre up in Pittsburgh, you know, I'm from the area. and I know this will work up there because I used to do something like it years ago, much smaller scale. But this could definitely get you in the game pretty quickly, you know. So, yeah, looks like everybody's saying, yeah, let's keep going. And Karen Green, by the way, is also in Pittsburgh. Catherine Yerkes in Virginia near Charlottesville. Looks like they've got a couple questions.
Hey, Karen.
Hey, Brent. So just a quick question. So sometimes it looks like you're not even really exchanging money. Like it's not even exchanging hands. You're actually just assigning the agreement to the new buyer, right?
A lot of times, yes, not always. Like I'm looking at my board here that we're buying 18 lots in Hawaii right now, 17 on the big island, 1 in Maui. Those we're purchasing for $32,000, and we have we'll sell them somewhere around $300,000. But what we're going to do is we're going to buy all 18 from the estate, and then we're going to list them individually and sell them off one by one. So yeah, sometimes we exchange money quite a bit. I was really just trying to show the easiest, fastest method since we had a lot of agents on here. We've done that in Colorado and Florida. I've never done that anywhere else as far as just getting the property under contract and then putting my contract on the MLS. A lot of times I would build a buyer's list and then maybe assign the contract or buy it and flip it with a realtor or buy it and sell and finance it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so you have a variety of different things that you do on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to disposition it. And
Right.
you know, I kind of do, some seller financing, some cash flips. Because here's one thing, I don't know, no one on this call probably has this problem, but I run out of money all the time. So I'll have to flip a couple, or I'll have to sign a few, or I've got to break down where I borrowed the $40,000 from my mother-in-law as well. I actually have it on the board behind me here, but yeah, so sometimes I'll involve lenders as well.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm bringing that up too. Obviously there's all different ways of hard money lenders too. But I just figured I'd ask because, what percentage of the deals that you do are actually assigned?
Probably about 40% right now, because
Well,
right now,
that's a good amount.
yeah, right now I'm a little nervous. I'm a little shy right now in the market. I'm trying to get everything under 50 cents on the dollar, as well, because I'm just trying to find the bottom. And I think we'll know when the prices stay consistent for about 6 months, looking at history, the last couple crashes. But right now I don't know if the correct word, bullish, just being very cautious, trying to get a big margin of safety.
Okay. All right. And hey, Lisa is in Hawaii.
Oh my God. Okay.
Just bringing it up.
Yes, I would like to talk to you. And I can drop my contact information as well. We haven't purchased yet. We're trying to work through some title issues. 6 of them were actually purchased via tax lien. So he's giving us those for free, but the title company does not want to close them. So we're just probably going to do a quick claim deed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It says on anonymous attendee, so type it in the QA box. I'm not sure. It might be somebody that's in on their phone, so we don't hear this. But in any case, the question is, Gary, in your opinion, do we have to worry about as agents and doing this? Is the wholesaler acting as an agent? So remember, Brent is not an active agent. He's using agents. So as an agent, you absolutely can represent a wholesaler. So the way when you're assigning a contract, okay, the people that are covered by E&O are the seller, right? And you, the realtor and the brokerages, but the wholesaler would not be. If the wholesaler is a licensee, you have to disclose that. And depending on the role, right, the agent can be wholesaling themselves, and collecting commission and an assignment fee, or just an assignment fee, or just a commission. Either way, we have a process for that in our wholesaling training program to show you how to do that the correct way. And I've run this all the way up the flagpole. Sean, I think Murphy was his last name, had me on he's pretty high up in EXP, had me on his lunch podcast, and he specifically wanted to talk about agents wholesaling, because brokers don't like it, but it's only because a lot of people do it incorrectly. when you showed me that contract, Brett, with that verbiage in there, that's how you do it. And in these cases, the property is going to be bought. You're either going to buy it yourself or you're going to find a buyer to buy it. But either way, like I said, it's the biggest beef with brokers is people that do wholesaling incorrectly. Oftentimes the property's not bought because a wholesaler is doing it wrong. This is the right way, and it's and I'd love to see you guys tap into this and participate, because land right now is in definitely much higher demand. There is a huge demand for housing, particularly affordable housing. So I think that trend is going to continue. I'd love to see some price corrections that stabilize the market and normalize it a little bit, but you just don't know. In some areas like Florida, I mean, here's the funny part, Brett, when I'm looking at the map of Westlake and I'm seeing all that water, and let me ask all the Floridians, who here has seen alligators? When you see all that little, yeah, we call them alligator ponds,
We had an alligator in a swimming pool when I used to sell in Florida.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny, but and they come fish them out, but still a lot of people move down there from other states and they're shocked when they see one sometimes. But in any case, another question from Robert Nitsky. Good to see you, Robert. What was the web address for the letter? Is that landsharks.com, Brent?
Yes, you got it. I'll put it in the chat as well.
Okay. Okay. Looks like Kay's got a question too.
Yes,
Kay's
Gary. I have a wholesaler, I think, or it's a, yeah, I guess it's a wholesaler, and he had a storage unit, and I have a buyer who wants to buy a storage unit. So how do I get paid on that, and how do I put it into EXP?
So let me get this straight. Your seller, is a seller selling it off market?
It says it's an off-market deal. Yes, I got it off of Investor Lift.
Okay, you need to have a compensation agreement before you go any further. If they don't want to list it, I mean, they obviously the brokers want us to list these things, and I agree because I'm a broker too. But if you can't, you need at least a compensation agreement, right?
Okay.
And we were talking about this earlier today, in fact, and something I hadn't thought of till recently is when you get involved with something like that, somebody that doesn't want to sign anything, you have them sign what we typically call it NDA, non-disclosure agreement. But I prefer what's called an NCDC. It's non-compete, non-disclosure, non-circumvent. So the person can't go around you, they can't compete with you, and they can't disclose anything you give them. That way you're protected there, and then you can get a compensation here, but you definitely need to do that. And here's a critical thing for everybody here. This is extremely important. Let's say you're representing a wholesaler, okay? The wholesaler is going to sign the contract. Make sure you have in there the phrase, this sales agreement, your responsibilities as buyer's agent related to this sale survive assignment of contract. So if a contract is assigned, your role as the buyer's agent remains intact, and you're representing the ultimate buyer.
It does say the buyer pays all closing costs, but I didn't know if that included my fees. I didn't think it did. Where do I get one of those agreements?
You have to write that in. You have to type it in.
Okay.
But now when they say closing costs, technically commission is closing cost. It's considered on a settlement sheet. It's in there. But if I would be careful. This is my opinion. I would make sure it's spelled out explicitly.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't take any chances. I mean, most cases would be okay, but just like any walk of life, I mean, whether it doesn't matter what industry, you're going to have some people who unfortunately would take advantage of the situation if it was there, because they can. So you definitely want to protect yourself.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Brett. Keep going. You got a captive audience and they're liking it. Me, I am too, by the way. So,
all right. Yeah. So one thing I didn't talk about was too much on how I'm selling this stuff. And, I want to go back to, I have many real estate agents in the Land Sharks community. and they've kind of gotten off of doing the listing of houses and moved into land full time, but they list it for themselves too, which is a massive win. They're getting their profit and the realtor commission, as well as helping other land investors in their area and teaching them. But here's what's really cool is one of the things they do to protect themselves. And, you kind of already mentioned this, Gary, is just talking to the legal side of EXP or whoever you're with, as well as a real estate attorney. But they put it on that purchase agreement. Buyer is a licensed real estate agent, as well as they have them sign something too, additional, saying, hey, you understand that I'm a licensed real estate agent. I'm blah, blah, blah. So, and then they also give to the title company. So they're like covering themselves 3 different ways, just so no one ever has any issues with that. And going back to the sales side of this land, I'm always building a buyer's list. So we put it everywhere. We list it with a real estate agent. And when we do that, we make sure it's cool with the real estate agent, that we also market it on our website, as well as Craigslist. And here's what's really cool is Facebook buy sell groups. So one thing about Florida land and Arizona land, when it's cold in Michigan or having a blizzard in Wisconsin, we sell a lot of land to people in Chicago, Illinois as well. One area I'm in, it's so many people from Chicago, Illinois. And how do we find that out? So we're in this area of Florida, and I'd already shown you too, the Lehigh Acres. That was another area of Florida we were in that a lot of people from Chicago, Illinois own vacant raw land in. How do we know that? We went to the assessor's office or the assessor's website and started looking at the mailing address of the neighbors around us. And we noticed Chicago, Illinois. It's like, okay, let's join the buy sell groups in Chicago, Illinois. And we started posting our land in Florida, like when they would have like whiteouts and snowy days. And what are they doing? They're sitting inside drinking coffee, trying to stay warm, and they'll make a down payment right on our website for the land. So that's one way we sell it. Another way that we like to sell the land are the neighbors. Neighbors love buying the parcel next to them if they've got the opportunity. But here's one thing that the neighbors never do, is they never look up who owns it and how they can get in touch with them. Like skip tracing. Is anybody in here familiar with skip tracing? Figuring out the phone number and email. That is not common knowledge whatsoever. Like you guys have so much knowledge, and it's like we're basically like private detectives sometimes. So we'll skip trace the neighbors and text them. Be very careful doing that. You want to make sure they're not, on the do not call registry or professional litigators. But here's what's really here's what's not illegal. You can send them a letter through that Pebble program saying, hey, here's the land. I own it next door to you. Here's some photos. Call me if you're interested in purchasing it, and I might even sell or finance it to you. And let me just get this past you. You don't need money to buy this land. You can assign the contract. You might have a mother-in-law just like me that has $40,000 in their safe that lost 7% in the last 12 months due to inflation, and they just wanted to put their money to work. You might have a friend or a relative that's a surgeon or a dentist. When I go to the dentist tomorrow, I'm going to ask the dentist if he's investing in real estate, because guess what? I've got a captive audience right there, and he's probably going to be a private lender. I talk to my friends all the time. Say, hey, you got 30, 40,000? Let's put it to work, and let's put it into a piece of land that I'm buying for less than 50 cents on the dollar. So if you've got 40,000, we're going to buy an $80,000 parcel of land, and you're going to make 10% income on it. And hopefully the longer I hold it, the better for you. So another way we're selling this land is Craigslist. Craigslist, besides getting my children's babysitters, usually on Friday night, we're like, let's go find something to do. So we'll find a babysitter on Craigslist. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Call grandma. We sell a lot of land on Craigslist. And here's the thing about Craigslist. It's usually people looking for a deal. So we usually sell it with seller financing on Craigslist. But those are some of the couple ways I'm selling land. Signs work very, very well. And it doesn't have to be anything nice. Like it can literally be 3 acres, must sell. So GH, did you have a question? I'm sorry, I didn't see that white hand against the white background.
I know, I'm frantically trying to turn around and figure out how to make my hand brown.
Yeah, just start ringing a bell or something.
So the ones that you do owner financing, what percentage default, how do you handle it? I know you said you have a late loan, was that automatically, but what does that look like?
Yeah, I send the hitman out. I don't get any, no.
I'm in Florida. Can I use your hitman?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. I got to know my audience. Like, you guys are all ethical and you go to school for this and you continue in education.
Screw
So
that,
I would,
I got hitman.
all right, these are cool realtors. My numbers have been about 1 out of every 12 I will take back. But here's what's really cool. I've never had to take back a parcel of land that I've gotten over $7,000 down payment on. So, but here's the thing. I'm also really new at this. I've only been doing this since 2016. So I'm still practicing it. So not enough time has went by. That one that I'm getting 126 grand on right now, they're paying it off this month. They put $29,000 down. I did another subdivide out in Florida. It was 3 parcels, and I used a hard money lender for that. We had to do engineer studies. So for wetlands, each one of those guys put $40,000 down payment, and that's how I paid off the hard money lender. So the higher the down payment, the less likely you're going to get a default. That one that's paying me $126,000, I sold that one in 2017, and that property is going for like $375 right now. So it's making me a little sick thinking to myself. I was thinking that I sold it for $159 and it's selling for $375 right now. But you know, you can't look in the rearview mirror. Yeah. Hey, Karen.
Hey, another question. So let's say you have a parcel of land that's $30,000. Your target amount down, would it be like 7 grand?
You know, for a while there, when I was using my own money, which was not like I didn't have any money, I would try and get a down payment large enough to get my money back out of the deal. And sometimes if you communicate very well with your title agent, you can use your buyer's down payment to purchase the land, and then you're the bank basically. So I don't have a percentage. I'm not analytical like that. If someone comes to me, if I'm asking $5,000 down for a piece of land and they come to me with 1,000 and they can pay 500 a month, I'll sell it in a heartbeat, because I'm more in like, let's get the payments coming in, because land, there's taxes on it. You got to pay the taxes, sometimes HOA fees. And when you buy a lot of land at once, like, you just want to turn and burn basically. But yeah, going back to how I use the buyer's down payment, we're doing a deal right now. We're buying it for $25,000 and the buyer has $32,000 down. And basically we're selling it for a total of $45,000. So we're not really 3Xing our money. But here's what's really cool is the buyer is actually paying for the land for us, and we're writing a note for the rest. We're the bank. That's it.
Yeah, well, I just asked because even the banks that are selling like their properties that aren't very, like, let's say aren't in great shape, need a lot of rehabbing, things like that. Like, let's say they're selling it for 50 grand or something like that. They want to collect 7 grand. So like, there's like that magic number of $7,000.
Huh.
So I'm just curious. Yeah. If that's kind of the magic number for you. Like you got,
I don't know.
7 grand.
That's good. I just learned something new. I didn't know that. And I'll tell you, you know, if you plan to sell these notes, the bigger down payment, the better for these note investors. And they want the seasoning for like a year. I've never personally sold a note, but I've had offers on about they give me about 80 cents on the dollar. And if you're also looking to sell the note, a note and a deed of trust is better than selling on a land contract. And also they want to see it go through title company as well. So little things I've learned over the years, but yeah, that's 7,000. That sounds like a magic number. Oh, hey, cool. Thanks, Robert. That's really all I have. I mean, this is kind of the whole system. Land investing is simple. Land investors are complicated. So this is a very simple business, and we don't have to overcomplicate it. And you can pretty much do this with little to no money. If you're really, if you really talk about what you do. When I was an Army officer, I hid it. I totally hid it because I was not allowed to have a business outside of the military. I wish I would have been telling all my Army officer friends, my bosses, because
Mhm.
I could have literally did all these land deals and never lost a night of sleep by having my own money. Like success for me is a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Going back to this, it's REI, Pebble, PropStream, and Redfin are really the three main systems you're using to do this. And Redfin, of course, is free as a consumer. I know PropStream has a cost to it. I think you said 99 a month, something like that for PropStream. And
Yeah.
then what about REI Pebble? What's the cost on that?
So their lowest program is $99 a month. They're going to try and give you like their websites and their CRM and all that stuff. And their CRM is great. Their website's great. But if you're just starting out, I want revenue in the first position. If you told me, Brent, I have $5,000, I would say, put it all into mail and get your letters out there to landowners. I can give a link for PropStream and REI Pebble. So the link I'll give you for REI Pebble, it's a 14-day free trial and a $50 mail credit. And then PropStream, it's a 7-day free trial. You can pull like 50 leads. So you could literally start mailing today for free if you don't have any systems, but set your calendars. Set your calendar for 7 days to cancel that service so you don't get hit with that $99. Same thing for Pebble. Set it for 14 days so you can get some letters out there.
Yeah. And then and you were actually using Redfin because of the search capability to identify the vacant land there. You remember there was like so much square footage and things like that. I mean, that's, and some of them are going to be listed and some of them probably won't be, but either way you can, if it's listed, you go to the agent. If it's not listed, you go directly to the owner,
Exactly. And then I'm calling the agents with the listings and the ones that's selling it, because we got a piece of land in Murfreesboro right now. And there was I did not see a trend of sales agents or buyers agents bringing the buyers. Or I'm sorry, I didn't see a trend of sold. So I only saw 1 or 2 realtors, never anyone twice. But the listing agent was right across the street. He had a listing and then he had another one. That guy has been a wealth of knowledge. Like he taught me about like, hey, you need a perk test so bad in this area and we're not buying the land, because that guy's education taught us that that land was really worth about 20 grand. We thought it was worth like 300.
Wow. That's a big save.
Game changer. Thank God for that realtor.
And it looks like, I'm sorry, go ahead, PF.
Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought, please.
Well, what I was going to say is it looks like, I'm just thinking through this. It's not like you're right in the cities of Nashville and Orlando, but you're around there. So you're in areas where there's some demand. You have to have the availability of land and have the demand. And typically that's going to be where people are wanting to move to and, perhaps build and so forth. So has that been the case? You're around like the MSAs, the metroplexes, but not right on top of it. But you're also not rural. You're not way out in the farmland.
I've done a little bit of all of it. The really rural stuff is amazing for the seller financing, but here's what's really hard about it. It's like to see what it's selling for.
Right.
So it's almost like, I think it's worth this. And then you get a bigger margin of safety. So my uncertainty, I had to get a bigger discount. But yeah, I like to be just about an hour outside of the major areas. Have we bought some land in like the middle of Colorado Springs? Yes. And it's paid off very well, but those are few and far between.
Right. Are you looking to expand? Like, because we've got agents in 36 states, and this is my personal belief, and I keep saying it. So usually when you say it enough, it'll happen. But I think South Carolina is the next and probably the last state in the southeastern part of the country to go through a major, like what's going on in Tennessee right now. That's just my personal opinion. But any thoughts on that, or where you're looking to expand to?
Absolutely. In South Carolina, North Carolina, we have several, I'm not in those areas, but we have several land sharks that are doing very well. Nashville, oh my goodness. A friend of mine used to live with me when we were in the military together. He's building 540 homes in the Nashville and surrounding areas right now. And he spends $0 on marketing. What he does is he will get with the mayor, see where the plan of growth is at. He'll get with the city managers, see where the plan of growth is at. And then he'll see these areas. They'll tell him right where they want to go, where they want to see the density increase, basically where they want to see more housing. And they'll go and knock on these falling down, dilapidated houses that are sitting on 15, 20 acres and say, hey, I'm sure you probably never have thought about selling, but I'd like to know a number that would put a big smile on your face. And how we pay is by the house pad. So if we can get 20 house pads on this 20 acres, I'm not giving you 200,000 what your house is worth right now. I'm giving you roughly $20,000 a house pad. So, 10 house pad, or no, that would be, it works out to millions of dollars. And these people are just like, absolutely. But you're married for 6 months while you do the entitlements and the surveys. And it's just absolutely huge. There's so many ways you can do vacant raw land. And this is why there's virtually no competition in vacant raw land. It's because we drive by it every day. We don't see any houses we can renovate, any houses we can rent out, or storage units we can rent out, or mobile home parks. There's nothing on it. But if you get it at a massive discount and you flip it, or like my friend Vacant is doing, he is adding value.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Brent, where else can we follow you? I don't have Instagram.
Oh, do you have TikTok? I'm recently a fan of TikTok. I've been putting videos on TikTok every day about what I'm doing in my land business. So if not YouTube.
No, I don't have TikTok either. I don't have Facebook and Twitter.
I'm on Facebook.
Oh, okay, Facebook. Great, thank you.
I'm on YouTube. I've actually taken a massive break from YouTube. That was a full-time job. I was enjoying it for a little while, then I stopped. So I'm on YouTube as well, Brent L. Bowers. And then Facebook is Brent L. Bowers 1, actually.
Okay.
What's TikTok, Brent?
Oh, Brent L. Bowers 1.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's going on, Robert?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This isn't so much a question as it is more just a comment. I've had some indirect dealings with some land flipping here in the Seattle area lately, where I was just a minor participant in it, where all I did was go out and take some drone footage that they used in the listings, because a buddy of mine got contacted by someone else who's doing this nationally, and he keeps finding little empty vacant lots in the greater Puget Sound region, and then wanting to sell them. He's making a killing, and we've been trying to figure this out, like how he's doing it, where he's getting the land, like all this kind of, we want to do it ourselves. And then I ran into Gary here at one of Sean's things a week or so ago, and I was like, yeah, I'll listen in, see what they're doing. You guys just happen to be talking about what I'm super interested in right now. And I'm kind of mad because I got here late because I was out jogging with the dog. Is the first few minutes available to watch? Or I've been taking notes and everything, and I'm super happy. Like if I would love to connect with folks and partner up if anybody wants someone eager that is an agent that in Washington that can rock and roll. Let me know. I'm happy to do it. So
I'll tell you what, Robert, you get a vacant lot in Gig Harbor, man. I'll be there in 2 days. I love that place. But yeah, so just because you registered, you're going to get an email tomorrow. I think it looks like it comes from me, but it's actually the operations people send it out. You can tell it's not for me because it has like the pretty picture of me and all the marketing gobbledygook stuff. If it's for me, it'll be more general nature, but I'll make sure you get the recording, and then and just keep register for class. You'll think you register for like 20 classes at a time, the way that thing works. And if you were to type in your information, I saw it earlier in a chat box. I mean, we're pretty much got most of the country covered, and not everybody here is EXP, by the way. We got agents here from different brokerages. The team is in EXP, but we do work together. We do projects together. It's a great way to connect with other like-minded people. We a lot of us work with traditional clients, but we just happen to have a unique platform just for the investor, because that's what a lot of us are, and ones that are not are looking to be an investor.
So one other thing I was wondering, since there are a lot of EXP folks, we have access to KV Core. I was wondering if anybody doing anything with KV Core in relation to marketing campaigns for raw land?
I'm not aware of anything specifically for land, but we can certainly create it. We've created 20 of our own, actually copyright protected marketing campaigns, and we make them clonable. So anybody on the team can clone it. Nobody has to create that stuff, but we can definitely create one for land. It's just funny because I started seeing this a year or two ago, and now I swear it's like a regular part of conversation on an ongoing basis. It's I think people are realizing, the old school philosophy about land is dead in the water. This is this new world today, and if you got land, you're consider yourself you can be the Beverly Hillbillies, modern day Beverly Hillbillies. So yep. Hey, Joanne had a question too. Joanne, you still there? There she is.
Yes. I wanted to know what was the name of the place that you said you used in Chicago to help sell land? I had a person that he wanted to sell his land, but he didn't want, at the time, he didn't want me to like put it on the MLS. He didn't want like a lot of people to know. He didn't want to sign on it or anything like that. He didn't want, I think it was like certain people he didn't want to know. I think he would have preferred for it to be like maybe an out-of-state person or out-of-town person or something like that. So I was wanting to know those that like the Chicago thing or what types of places like that I can recommend to him.
Yeah, that happens all the time, Joanne. It's so funny that you asked that. So for anybody that's also wondering, I went on the county assessor's website. So it was a area of Florida, and I was like, I just want to know who buys land in this area. So I started seeing a bunch of Chicago, Illinois landowners. And how did I know they're in Chicago, Illinois? Because that's the mailing address that their tax bill would go to each month. So we went and found some buy-sell groups on Facebook. So Facebook has marketplace and buy-sell groups, and you can join anywhere from like 5 to 20 of these buy-sell groups, buy-sell trade groups, yard sale groups, Chicago neighborhood, Illinois neighborhood groups, and just start joining these things. And you can post your land on marketplace and put the zip code of where it's at. And then it'll ask you, do you want to post on additional places? And then we'll select, and I can give a demo of this too, if anybody wants to see a demo, but I'll select multiple areas. So I have a house in Colorado that I was having a hard time selling. Right after that hurricane hit in Florida, I started putting this property in Port Charlotte buy-sell groups. So people can be like, look, I'm tired of this hurricane. I'm moving the heck out of here to Colorado. So I'll post it in those groups. And yeah, it's usually an out-of-state person because we deal with that sometimes. They don't want to sign. They don't want the neighbors to know. So don't go and contact the neighbors. That's the fastest way to upset your seller. It's a great question. And then I saw in the chat.
Craig Cannon's got a question to you. So he said, actually, right down the road from you.
Where are you at, Craig?
Yeah, Craig Cannon. Yeah.
I'm located in Denver.
Oh, you're in Denver. Okay. I was in Colorado Springs for a while. We still have our office out there and whatnot and a couple properties, but yeah, still got plenty of land out there for sale. The prices have skyrocketed and there's a lot of houses sitting on the market, unfortunately, in Colorado Springs right now.
Well, that was the question. I mean, what are your thoughts about Colorado when the prices are high, but the cost to either build or either materials, labor, or even to remodel are just outrageous?
Yeah, it's terrible. I've got a couple houses sitting on the market. We are almost done building a spec home right now in Colorado City. It's in South Pueblo County. I bought the land for $1,000, built the house for about $250, and maybe I'll be able to sell it for $320, brand new 1,400 square foot house. But yeah, I'm hitting the pause button on building and renovations. I bought 8 houses in December of last year. And unfortunately, those 3 contractors I was using, I'm not using any of them anymore. So I got stuck. I lost quite a bit of money in the housing business, but our land, this is more recession proof because I'm only going back like some areas like 30 days. And if we get it at 50 cents on the dollar, I'm trying to sell it for less than everything else on the market, and just having, plenty of room for error, plenty of margin of safety. So I'm not doing as much in Colorado as the quick answer. Florida, there's still massive demands, massive droves of people coming in. Colorado was, a weird one. And it was like someone turned the music off and multiple people were looking for seats.
Thanks.
But your area of Denver, just to the west, those mountains are still in demand. It's just getting bigger price reductions. And it's just talking to the actual landowner and getting them to come to grips. And they're starting to already. Some people that want more money, we can't give it to them in cash, but we can offer it in payments at 0% interest, to where I can find a buyer that can come in for a little bit more down as far as a down payment, and at interest and a little bit higher per month, and we can do a positive arbitrage. So sellers are getting a little bit realistic on that side of the fence. And I'm already seeing land also go on the Liz Pendens, the pre-foreclosure. Like, you haven't seen that in a while. Gary, I don't know if you're keeping track of that, but foreclosures have went up 60% in the last couple months.
Well, there's actually some states are over 100% increase in volume of filings. Some states are 25%, but it's just part of the economic cycle. It can't keep going up. And when you increase prices like we have for several years, then you raise rates on lending for 4 or 5. And we just had one, and that was saying there's still going to be another one. I think possibly March, but eventually you push out the buyers. They just can't do it anymore, or they have to lower, their expectations. But the good news is we work with a lot of investors. So we really, honestly, our volume went up in December on our team. Instead of most everybody's dropping, it's complaining left and right. And I feel blessed because we have that particular focus in the systems that help investors. So, well, I'm really excited about this. You guys, oh, Juan, do you have another question? I'm sorry, I just saw your hand up again.
I think Melanie was too.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Melanie's in San Antonio. Hey, Melanie.
Oh, I'm in the Austin area.
Austin, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I have two things. Like the other gentleman said, that this is a very timely conversation, because I inherited kind of two listings that were vacant lots that were both like $20,000, and the person was trying to explain to me what he does, and I was like, how do you make any money? So I do have one pending now, and I love this conversation because now I'm starting to see like what he's doing with all this. So thank you for that. It's very, very timely. The other thing I wanted to note was,
what's his name? I got to know his name. And this other guy in Washington, I might have trained some of these people.
His name is Mark. 1 second here. I can think about it in just a second.
The guy that we were working with, his name is.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Robert.
It's all right. His name is Rajin, I think. That sound familiar, Rajin?
No, it doesn't ring a bell to me.
I don't have his last name, but I could get it. I messaged you on Instagram. I'll hit you up later.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So just thank you. I don't remember what I was going to say, but thank you very much. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Well, I'm just thinking of all kinds of possibilities here. I mean, you could, if you're, trying to drum up business guys, you could use this process to get these properties listed. And Brent, I don't know if you're seeing this, but historically, a lot of the land deals were getting 10% commissions. They weren't just getting 4 or 5 and 6%. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
Yeah, it's anywhere from 6 to 10%.
Yep.
On these bigger ones, the $600,000 ones, it's usually about 6%. The smaller $50,000 ones, like it's sometimes it's a flat, here's my flat fee as well. I've had realtors just charge a flat fee of like $1,600 in some areas. So it's all over the board.
Well, the thing is, there's no inspection, there's no appraisal because there's no house. It's land, but somebody's going to build on it, and that somebody might be in building as an investment. you can just say, look, let's do this deal. I'll cut my commission in half as long as you give me first right of refusal on the listing when you build it and you're going to sell it. So you get the listing there once that's been built upon. Stuff like that, guys. Just keep thinking. Keep, what can you do to make this work? And we need more housing in the country. So why not, tap into it. So, okay. Who here thinks this was a really good, fun class tonight? Yeah, Brent, you definitely brought the fire, man. We really appreciate it. And I'll stay on, guys. Normally I try to wrap up at 8:30, but if anybody does need anything, I'll stay on if you want to, or if you want to email me or text me or call me. There's a few things we didn't actually get to go over, but we'll do it on a different time. Let's see. Yeah, I tell you what, real quick. Craig Leverett has a friend, Natalia, in upstate South Carolina, which is Spartanburg, Greenville area. And she has a lot of property she's trying to sell, new build. I've got an email, so Beverly, remind me, we're going to put it in an attachment, guys, so you can look at it. It is one of the go-to places now. People are like, they like to move there because it's inexpensive to buy, it's inexpensive to live, taxes are low, gas is low, and all the gas stations are connected to a liquor store. Go figure. Not just kidding. But I'll send that in email. And then is Deb Warner, are you still on, Deb? Let me see if Deb's still on. Okay, real quickly. So I met with Deb today on our regular one-on-one. And I wanted you to consider this, guys. I had another conversation with Ann about this, is hiring a VA virtual assistant. You might not be ready for it now, but it should be the first move you make when you start bringing in the transactions. And she got one last year, and she said her productivity year to date from right now to this time last year, as a result of the VA, is tripled, because she's no longer doing the routine administrative tasks. She's paying $5 an hour for that, which frees up an hour or two a day for her to do more deals that makes her tens of thousands of dollars. So just keep that in mind. Growth is not an easy thing. You've got to really discipline yourself and will yourself to take that next step. And it's not that hard. I'm telling you. I mean, I hate to say it, but if I can do it, you can do it. And Deb's proven that. So write that down. Different subject. But let's do this, guys. I would reach out to Brent. And Brent, if you need representation and different, if you're looking to expand, go to globalinvestoragent.com and pick yourself any one of these agents. We're in 36 states, and mostly the ones that are where you have bigger cities and growth, things like that, So I don't think we have anybody in Montana right now. Well, we have one person in South Dakota. That's right. So, yeah. Sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the website now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see. Can you hear about the best way to do that, Susan Murray? Yeah, Susan, what we'll do is we'll hiring a VA. Beverly, if you can send out the white paper on how to hire a VA with this recording, and then what we'll do, Susan, we'll go over it in one of our classes, one of our Money Lives. My first VA hire all by myself using this exact process, and that VA's been with us now. We'd have to check with Beverly, but I'm sure over 12 years. He's probably 13, 14 years. Yep. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
We just got 3 more. 1, 2, 3. I think 3 more. Yeah. So, yep. It changed my business. I mean, I'm telling you, a lot of what you guys are seeing now as far as activity and, the podcast, the social media stuff, because we hire people that were specifically focused on those roles as opposed to general purpose people. And it made a huge difference. And it's actually less payroll,
Yeah.
So,
And
less
Gary,
payroll. Yes.
thank you, because you had sent that out to me before. I just hired my VA maybe a few months ago, and I'm still in the training process. But I'm telling you, it's like I'm so lucky and thankful. I feel like, very, very lucky. It's already making a huge difference in my productivity and all that.
It's probably one of the best things that I've done in business as far as allowing for growth to occur without getting any more gray hair. So,
Mhm.
you know, life's a lot more peaceful, you know? So, okay. Well, listen, guys, you take care of yourselves. Hope you have a good rest of the week. Remember, you have to schedule one-on-ones 48 hours in advance. It's just the way the parameters are set up in that system. But I noticed Wednesday I had a lot of spare time, and Thursday and Friday this week. And then next week's probably wide open. So I'm at my mom's, which means I got plenty of time. And but let's keep the ball rolling, keep the momentum going, keep the one-on-ones coming in, you know. So, and I will see you. Oh, the team meeting. Sorry, the monthly team meeting is this Wednesday. So if you're on the team, make sure you're registered. Come on in, because we've got a speaker from Bigger Pockets coming in to talk about how you can get on Bigger Pockets, and that's true for anybody, whether you're on a team or not. But looks like we're going to try to get a deal with them. And Anna Galumian, who's already on, she just signed up with them a week or two ago. I don't know if Anna's still on or not.
Hey,
Anna,
Gary, I'm on Bigger Pockets, and I was getting ready to discontinue it this year because I'm not using it because there's so many things going on. But every time I go on it, it's wonderful information. So I need to either use it or let it go.
Yep. Well, Anna's actually doing the new program where you can get leads, and it costs money, but you get a guaranteed amount of leads. And Anna, if you're still there and don't mind unmuting.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
I'm more than happy to share with you guys. So basically, they have pre-purchase packages of 25 leads at a time, and the pricing per lead, they're basically sold in bundles. So the price of the bundle varies depending on the market you're in. And the pricing is determined by the market value of single family homes, just the average. And so I'm in 2 markets. One of them was 1,500 for 25 leads. The second market was 3,000 for 25 leads. But the cool part is I talked to the rep that I was working with about potentially giving us free leads if more people join in from the team. So that's something definitely you should be on the lookout for. So far, I've gotten 2 leads from them, and I literally just signed last Monday. My first lead was a builder. I'm so sorry, guys. I have this tiny monster in the background.
That's okay.
And so one is the land developer. He's looking to purchase a land and develop in the Austin area. And then the second one, I have a meeting coming up on Wednesday. And so far, both leads were very responsive. There's no contract or anything in place just yet. At least they responded and were actually willing to set up a Zoom to move forward. So they're not just like those Zillow quality leads. So far, so good.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I tell you what, guys, it's definitely unique, definitely different. Not the same as Zillow or Realtor.com and Homes.com. It's a different program. And you know, and I know the guys that started this whole thing years ago. So in any case, I have a high level of confidence. But let's make sure you're on Wednesday night so we can hear him out and see what we can do. And you know, keep pushing moving forward. I mean, there's the way the market's going, the more places you are, the more likely you're going to get the clients and the transactions. So this is one of the ways to do that. So, okay, if there's no final thoughts or questions, I'll let you guys go. And we got a brand new half-gallon of chocolate truffle ice cream, something, I don't know. I guess we'll find out here in about 3 minutes. So thanks, guys, for the kudos. And thanks for all of you who voted for me for speaking at Sherwood's. I don't know if I'll be speaking yet. They haven't told us. But we got 324 votes, I think. That's pretty good, you know? So, well, I heard people were paying a company to get them votes. I didn't even know that was possible, but I don't care. I mean, ours are all organic, native, authentic votes, and I appreciate that. So
That doesn't quite seem fair, Gary.
well, I think they ought to make it so it's only the agents who are going to be there can vote. I guess I don't know. We'll find out. Although one person did vote for me that's not on the team, but she was one of my old agents, and you guys have been meeting her because now she's coming on with her daughter. How about that? I came out because of a Facebook post. So wonderful person. I haven't seen her in years. Tina Reuters. So, okay, I'll keep rambling if you let me. So I'm going to head off here. You guys have an awesome night. I'll see you Wednesday night and then also next Monday. And please remember to set up your one-on-ones, guys, and invite people to class. We had a lot of guests tonight, and I appreciate the guests being here. We do this every Monday. You're welcome to come anytime you want. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody. God bless you and your families.